Hey, everybody. Hi, Dino Tripodis. Welcome back to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. We've missed you. We've been away for a couple of weeks. We took a little break during the Thanksgiving holiday. If you traveled and went to see loved ones on Thanksgiving, I sincerely hope that it was safe travels and that everybody's healthy. If you chose to stay home and not travel on Thanksgiving and not be with family, well, aren't you the real winner? I'm only speaking for myself. Yeah, crazy times. We've been off for a couple weeks, but we're back tonight with what I thought would be just a simple little topic inspired by John Whitney. We were talking amongst ourselves about the best sports movies ever. You know, just what I thought would be a casual conversation, but I didn't realize how much emotion and passion comes through and was evoked in that conversation. How much people really feel and are connected to sports movies, because sports for some of us is a big part of our life, and the sports movies that have either inspired us or moved us are a big part of our movie lives. And with everybody streaming just about every movie possible out there in these last few months during COVID, we thought tonight, the greatest sports movies of all time. What are they? We'll be joined shortly by the Whiskey Business crew, John Whitney and Greg Hansberry, and our very special guest, once again, a guy when it comes to anything that's in a film, on a DVD, on a VHS tape, or some obscure 16 millimeter film that's hidden in the basement somewhere. Dan Swartwout is with us again once tonight to add to the mix about his, and he's I can tell you right now, he's gone deep. He's gone deep already. So thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to tell you what the guest bottle is tonight. Our 150th bottle of the podcast tonight. And it seems appropriate that it comes right here from Columbus, Ohio. And I almost feel a little guilty that I have it, because I might be one of the few people that does have it right now. And some of you will be getting it very shortly. We'll share that in just a moment. But in the time being, before that, let's bring in the people that make this happen. Greg Hansberry on the audio side, John Whitney on the video side. Boys, good to see you. A good Thanksgiving. Yes. Did you travel? Anybody travel? I did not.
Oh no. Stuck at home.
We stayed in our turkey bubbles.
Yeah,
we did.
Good.
Good. A masked potluck.
A masked potluck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a new show. That's a new show on Fox, by the way.
The masked potluck.
The masked potluck. Yeah. Oh, 3 celebrity judges try to figure out what the fuck somebody's eating.
Potatoes.
And for those of you who are joining us live on Facebook and not Instagram, YouTube, thank you so much. We've missed you. I see people chiming in already as they are chiming in with their favorite sports movies and some other things too. We've missed you. We've missed you. We've all missed each other. It's getting crazier and crazier.
Virtual hug. Let's hug it out.
There it is. But John Whitney, thank you for suggesting this topic this evening.
Well, we were kind of trying to figure out what to do, and I was like, what are those? I just started to float in my mind. What are the best sports movies? And we just kind of went from there. It worked out.
Something we haven't done before.
I can tell you that earlier this evening I was watching, because there's always an NFL game on Wednesday at 3:30.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching
weird.
Steelers and the Ravens, and I brought up the conversation with the people I was watching. It got emotional. And some of the things that were brought up in that conversation, I'll share tonight once we get our special guest on as well. But it's interesting how passionate people are and what constitutes a sports movie.
Right.
What constitutes a sport for that matter.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we'll get into all of that here in just a little bit. A few things we got to do first. I'll let Hansberry do the business, and then I'll get to a couple things that we need to gratuitously plug before we bring in Dan Swartwout. So go ahead, Hansberry.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go ahead, Hansberry. Leave the podcast.
It's been a while.
Hello, is this thing on? Of course, whiskeybusinesspod.com is where you can find everything whiskey business related. We are on Facebook, and if you're watching us on Facebook right now, hello, please comment. We'll try to do our best to chime in and maybe show your comments here on screen. Same thing with YouTube Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. You can watch us live there and comment, and we'll try to get back to you. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and click that little bell icon down here, and you'll get a notification every time we have a new video that posts up. So that's a good way to keep up with us. Instagram, Twitter, subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, and we're on pretty much all of them now. So just whichever one you like, we're probably on it.
Yeah.
And the best thing you can do to help us is comment and leave a rate us and review us. So if you think we suck, you can tell us that, or if you like it, let us know. And spread the word about whiskey business.
If you think we suck, be gentle. It's been a couple of months.
That's right.
Say it with love and constructive criticism.
I love you. This is a constructive criticism. You guys suck.
Hi to Krista, who just joined us. Thank you for being with us again, as always. I just did her podcast not too long ago. Speak Easily, and I had a blast. I was her 100th podcast. I was on her first one, her 50th, and her 100th. So I'll be hopefully I'll be back at 150 maybe before it's all said and done, or 200. That'd be more appropriate. But a couple other things to mention before we go. For those of you who have enjoyed our whiskey wisdoms that we had up and running on a regular basis, there were a couple of holiday whiskey wisdoms that we held back that the incredible John Whitney directed and shot, and those will be popping up here. I think our first one pops up next week, right, Johnny?
Probably Monday.
Monday.
And what constitutes a holiday one? You just wore a Santa hat, right? Was that the only thing?
I think the wisdom had a holiday.
That's right. Yes.
Tone to it as well.
Yes.
As far as the wisdom that I dispensed in said, and for those of you who are fans of High Bank Distillery and are enjoying their 12 days of Christmas, you might recognize the voice that's tagging all those spots at the end.
Nice. Would that be you?
That would be me. That would be me. Yeah.
That's on their Instagram page, I believe, right?
Yeah, Rudy asked me to do those, and I had a blast doing those. Also, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, once again, I go back to, I'm sorry, Hansberry, that there wasn't a role for an Uber driver and spitball.
That's right.
But I'm telling you, dude, we're gonna write one that has an Uber driver, and you're the guy. But a spitball and the little COVID created short little thing that we did with John Whitney, Ralph Scott, and myself,
and Chip Cassell,
Chip, Linda Big Hand is up and available just about everywhere. It's on whiskeybusinesspod.com. It's on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's just about 5.5 minutes of complete utter absurdity, which we thoroughly enjoy doing. The guest bottle, the 150th bottle tonight, is from our good friends at Watershed Distillery. This is their bourbon. This is their barrel strength bourbon that was aged in the Nicino barrels. Now you know that Nicino Fest at Watershed is huge. And you remember when we had Greg on before, he was kind of teasing about something in December?
Yeah.
If you recall, I recall. Maybe you guys don't recall, but he was hinting when we celebrated their anniversary bottle when their bourbon came out. He was teasing about something. This is it, and this particular bottle is only available in a lottery system. There are people that have signed up for the lottery and be able fourth and fifth, I think, for $79.99. They're paying for the privilege of getting this bottle. And I'm going to tell you what, it's worth every penny, because everything you love about the Nicino, the vanilla and the spices, along with the 110.2 proof that it is absolutely, they've hit a home run once again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's also a
And
barrel aged.
We're all leaning in.
A barrel aged bottle that's coming out and will be available in stores for $29.99. So something a little bit more in the.
Do we lose them?
Well, he froze when he was drinking. I didn't think he was enjoying that whiskey that much.
I think we need to share it for us. Yeah,
he's back. Here we go.
Right,
there he is. Yeah, he's back.
Okay. Apparently, too many watershed plugs, and I got yanked off there.
You had a good spot.
Yeah, if they're not paying for it, that's all they get. God damn it!
That's it. Send a check, watershed.
Otherwise, Echo Distillery.
Well, we mentioned High Bank, Echo, Watershed. Yeah,
451. I think we got
451. We still have to have them on the podcast.
Who else we got? All right.
So yeah, this is really good. Anybody that's in the lottery and want a bottle and gets to pick it up this weekend, you're not going to be disappointed. And thank you once again to Greg Lehman at Watershed, Allison, and the it girl in spirits, Andemic, everybody, Nikki Moore. Thank you everybody for sending this my way. And I'm sorry, boys, that you're not here to share it with me, but trust me, you will. I will. You know I will. Yeah. All right, let's get to it, shall we? The best and greatest sports movies of all time. We've narrowed it down to 5 each that we will discuss tonight. And joining us to add to that discussion in the mix, I'm sure we will get the man, the myth, the legend, a guy who soon will be starting his own podcast as well.
Nice.
That is sports related. Yes, Dan, right?
I am working on that as we speak. I have a long history with podcasting. My first podcast with Bill Arendale, the Bill and Dan Show, started in March of 2005.
There wasn't even they didn't even call them podcasts back then. They called it people talking on the internet.
You had to go back and work to get a podcast.
He's a forefather of podcasting.
It didn't come through on a phone. You had to hook your iPad to your computer or your iPod. iPads weren't even a thing. Your iPod,
they weren't even a thing.
Your computer, find an RSS feed, figure out how to download it.
RSS feed. What is that?
An IRS feed. An IRS. RSS.
An IRS feed.
Oh my God. Did you work at CompuServe?
Podcasts in 2005. There was no need for an IRS feed.
Oh my God.
I've been enjoying watching everybody's movies that people are putting in the movies.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. Yeah, Jamie Sanfilippo, all 5 of the best sports movies are baseball movies. He said that earlier this evening and held strong to it. I'll bring up another comment that he said later in the podcast. But yeah, people are very passionate about this subject.
I saw that Chris said that his favorite sports movie was Roadhouse, which is, I don't know the last time you saw Roadhouse, but the last time I saw Roadhouse, about 40 minutes in, I'm like, hey guys, maybe the double deuce isn't worth all this trouble. Maybe it's just time to walk away. Just walk away.
Maybe not.
Shirtless bar fighting is definitely a sport.
Walk away like the 2009 real estate market. Just walk away.
I don't like any movie where Sam Elliott, ends up leaving it before it's all said and done. So yeah. But
R.I.P.
Yeah, it's become a very passionate topic of discussion, and we're gonna get into it. But first of all, tell me real quick the podcast you're working on.
I'm working on currently a football history podcast.
I love this idea.
Yeah, so that is what I am currently working on, and hopefully debuting it fairly soon. Getting back into the podcast game. The last podcast I was involved with as a host was back in 2016, so it's been a couple years, and I'm excited to get back in the game. And part of what inspires me to get back in the game is the Great Whiskey Business Podcast.
Now
like
we've come
that.
full circle.
That's nice.
And what's the name of the podcast? Because I love the title of it.
100-Yard History.
100-Yard History.
Nice.
Ah, nice.
I'm telling you, this is this. We've been discussing about his podcast separately, and it's a great idea for a podcast because it takes great games and great moments in sports history and digs, as Swarty does with just about everything, digs deep into one of them. And I believe the first one is going to involve something very near and dear to me as a Steeler fan.
And something that I aware of as a Raiders fan.
As a Raiders fan.
I'm aware of it.
You know, what you call the Immaculate Deception.
The Immaculate Deception.
That's right.
So that's
like
just a little tease of what might be
Will
coming
you be
from
doing anything on the butt fumble? Well, can we have a butt fumble?
might be coming from Dan Swartwout.
You know, in fact, I'm planning a 7-episode arc on Mark Sanchez's career. So
It's gonna be longer than his career anyway.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
who was on The
Nice.
Masked Singer and will soon be on The Masked Potluck and soon will be on
That's right.
Hear My Meal. He'll be on all these shows.
The Masked Potluck.
Potluck.
I think that's beef stroganoff. I think I really
No,
do. I think it's beef stroganoff. No, that's a pot pie. That's a pot pie.
You struck it off.
The Masked Potluck. All right, so
Stroganoff.
That's Ron Jeremy is that city. That's one.
now when we first brought up
He's in jail. Ron Jeremy's in jail right now.
I know you.
let's get to the topic. Let's get to the topic. The greatest sports movies of all time. Now, I'm sure the three of you were much like myself. When we said the greatest sports movie of all time, we probably immediately thought football movies, baseball movies, and for me, boxing movies. I didn't really go past that until I started having these offshoot conversations with friends about what constitutes being a sports movie,
Right.
what counts as a sports movie. Tonight in the football conversation, when we were watching the Steeler game, one of my friends, Mikey, said, if it doesn't have a ball, it's not a sport. I disagree. I totally disagree with that. But the problem,
There's a gray area there. You know, like the competition film.
the problem is, and this is the discussion that Swarty and I had. The problem is, do you go with films that are artistic or just sports movies that made you happy and that you loved and you watched on a repeated basis? What constitutes the best sports movie? Let's ask that question first. Swarty, what constitutes your top five? What qualifies as being in your top five to make it your top five before you even mention a film?
This is as good a time as any before we get into the top five to let everyone out there know that I do appreciate films that have great critical acclaim and great artistic achievement, such as Raging Bull and Hoop Dreams and 8 Men Out.
Yes.
But I chose movies that I have watched again and again and again and again. So those are the movies I chose that may not be as artistically relevant as Raging Bull, but I've only seen Raging Bull a couple times. I've seen a couple of the movies in my list maybe 30 times, 35 times.
Okay.
So I went with those. But that's how I approach this. And then I also found for my 5 movies a thread that links them all together.
Of course you did. I would expect nothing less out of you.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
likewise for me.
Hansberry.
Guilty pleasure movies, dumb comedies that I grew up on. And I'll leave it at that.
Because we know Happy Gilmore's in the movie.
Well, I mean, let's just start off with the best sports film of all time, for God's sake. It's Happy Gilmore. Come on.
When you mix hockey and golf at the same time,
Right.
Nothing
They
but
cover
shit.
the two sports.
That's true.
And Whitney, you being an actual filmmaker, I imagine your list might be a tad more eclectic than say the repeated viewings of Swarty and Hansberry.
Well, a lot of the ones that I chose were definitely ones that tugged at the heart a little bit for me.
Sure.
And the kind of, just like all the rest of my favorite films, if I'm cruising the channels and it's on, it doesn't matter where it's at, I'll stop and watch it to the end.
Gotcha.
So Whitney has Necessary Roughness #1. I take it based on his description he just gave.
Necessary Roughness. No.
Tugs at the heart, man. Bakula's best.
That's right.
Bakula's.
But
that's the Scott Bakula, for those of you who are wondering who he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. You know, and mine are probably a mix of both are artistic, acclaimed, and a guilty pleasure in the mix. So let's be polite and start with our guest of honor, Dan Swartwout. Let me hear your top 5.
All
we're not going to go one at a time.
We can go. We can go. All right, pick one. Pick one to start with, and then we'll go round robin. One. Pick your. And are these? Let me ask this, because mine are not actually rated. You know, 1 being the best and 5 being the worst. These are just top 5. So just, I don't know if yours are rated that way. They're just your 5 favorite greatest sports movies. Go give us, throw one at us.
All right. These are not rated 1 through 5. In fact, they are rated with that thread that goes through. So it starts at this point and it ends at this point, and every movie takes us along that journey. And the first movie is The Karate Kid.
Yes.
Which I think is this would be, some people might say is not a sports movie. I say that there would not be a modern UFC without The Karate Kid. I say that we would not have the combat sports scene without Daniel and Johnny and the All Valley 1984 karate tournament.
We would not have the YouTube now on Netflix sensation Cobra Kai.
Which is amazing. And probably my favorite scene from Cobra Kai is when Johnny tells the story of Karate Kid from his point of view.
Right.
Because isn't it always the best villain who in his own mind believes that he is justified and right?
Yes.
And so the way he describes this, you're like, man, Daniel was a jerk. You're like, you were justified in everything you did. And it's a tremendous movie. You know, how many things have entered popular culture from this movie? Sweep the leg, you know, the training scenes,
wax on, wax off.
Absolutely. And it's a movie I actually shared with my daughter for the first time this summer, and she ranked it, of all the movies we watched this summer, because we watched a ton of 80s movies this summer, including Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller. She ranked Karate Kid #1.
Wow.
Nice.
I did not. I had it behind Back to the Future and Raiders of the Lost Ark, but that's just me.
So she thought Ralph Macchio was cute, right?
But you're talking about overall movies, so
This is a sports movie. Karate Kid. It's like I said. I don't think we have Brock Lesnar without Ralph Macchio.
Well, look, talking off of that opens up the whole theme of like I had in the periphery some of those like fight to the death movies, like the Jean-Claude Van Damme's, the Mortal Kombats, even you know, I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but you're in that range. Yes, thank you. But you're in that range of it's not a ball, but you're in these like these fighting competition sports. You know, I think that counts. I think it counts.
Yes.
All right. So Hansberg, give me one.
Well, I'm just going to go with Happy Gilmore because we all know that this conversation is going to be done after this is over. Thank you. No, we're making a joke about it. Because I had Happy Gilmore as one of my most favorite guilty pleasure movies of all time. But obviously just a fun guilty pleasure movie, but within this Happy Gilmore, I also wrap in like The Waterboy, and we could talk a little bit about The Longest Yard, which I know Dino, the original, is one of your favorites.
Yes,
but
it's in there.
But just this is the kind of the vein I've been going down. Dumb movies that I grew up watching that are loosely sports related. Like I was an Adam Sandler fan.
Are they dumb movies, or are they a latent, unconfessed love and attraction to Adam Sandler?
Oh, I'd marry Adam Sandler.
Happy Gilmore was actually the very first movie my wife and I saw together. It was our second date.
Oh, there you go.
Now we saw Happy Gilmore.
Now it's got romantic ties connected to it.
You know, this I might not have the life I have now without Happy Gilmore.
There you go. See, and the other thing, and I wanted to give Will Ferrell honorable mention, and this kind of ties in with this.
Really?
Of all the dumb sports movies he's done, that has been hilarious.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Is that count as a sports movie?
Yes.
Racing is a sport.
Racing is a sports.
Okay.
Semi-pro.
Kicking and Screaming.
The soccer movie. Yes, Kicking and Screaming.
I love that movie.
The ice skating movie. So,
Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory. So there's just this whole subgenre of like dumb amateur comedy sports movies that are just great. They're great. Of course they're not serious. They're not Raging Bull. They're not pulling at your heartstrings like a Brian song or whatever. But
my brother-in-law chimed in early with Brian's song, which I that's a football movie, but is it a sports movie, or is it about?
Is it a drama?
Is it a drama? Something deeper? And I just know that
it's about Gale Sayers. It's a sports movie.
And Brian Piccolo.
That's right. Don't forget about him.
Pick is sick, man. Pick is sick. And it was also what my history teacher would show repeatedly in high school when he was hungover. There were no class, they were watching Brian's song.
Didn't we see that at the Golden Ace last night?
Yeah. So so good choice, Hansberry. Whitney.
No, bad.
Yeah.
Choice.
Whitney, give us one.
Okay. Breaking Away. Right?
I've never seen this.
Psych. Who's never seen it?
Me, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great movie, Hansberry.
Yeah.
And also brings up another sport that a lot of people wouldn't think of. Cycling. Yeah.
If you're going cycling, I thought you were going Quicksilver. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
Quicksilver.
No, I just love this movie. It's just it's a underdog story. The Cutters up against the college kids. And this was actually nominated for. Did it nominated or won for best screenplay? Nominated for best picture.
It was.
So So this was a solid film, and if you like underdog stories and teenage angst kind of stories, it was a great film. It's a great film.
Did that not win an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay?
Yeah, I just said that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just checking to make sure that I used Quicksilver correctly. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
I was just making sure. I didn't want to throw Quicksilver out there and be wrong about it.
No.
I'll be fact checking myself throughout this podcast.
I was going to say the director is Peter Yates, and he's actually, I have notes here. He did Bullet. He directed Bullet with Steve McQueen.
The original?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And
with Norman Fell? Norman Fell's Bullet?
Norman Fell's Bullet, no. Yeah, and Mother Jugs and Speed, possibly one of the greatest.
Mother Jugs and Speed, Bill Cosby.
That's a great name.
One of the greatest
Harper
names of all time.
Keitel.
Yes.
And Raquel Welch.
Yes, Mother Jugs and Speed.
Mother Jugs and Speed.
My
God. That's from the 70s, one of my favorite decades of film ever.
I had to write that down.
It was about bicycles, by the way. I was correct.
Was it about bicycles?
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin Bacon vehicle.
Yeah, literally, no pun intended. Kevin Bacon vehicle bike.
Five Oscar nods and 1 win, best original screenplay.
For Quicksilver?
No, for Breaking Away.
No, not Quicksilver. No. But I think Quicksilver was a box office hit, though. I think it was. I think it was. Mark Edward Hoyt says biking is not a sport, but bike messaging is not a sport. Quicksilver is ineligible. This comes from our movie geek extraordinaire, Mark Edward Hoyt. He has discounted it.
Well, Quicksilver is not in my top 5.
No. Why is Quicksilver? Oh, because it's biking?
Biking.
Maybe.
And yet Eric Osbeck says Breaking Away is amazing, and he's also mentioned a couple of other. See, that's the problem. People bring up movies that I have forgotten.
Yeah.
Eric Osbeck mentioned Bang the Drum Slowly, which
Great
is
movie.
just an amazing film. And he also agrees with you, Hansberry, that Happy Gilmore is the greatest as far as what it is.
Wait, who said that?
Eric Osbeck. Eric Osbeck.
You're my boy.
Yeah. My good friend John Osbeck's brother.
John's brother.
Who watches a lot of movies and knows what the hell he's talking about.
I'm friending you on Facebook right now, Eric.
Then he also picked Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars with Richard Pryor and Greg. Man, see, that's just it. There's so many.
I know, it's crazy.
Now, I wouldn't put those in my top 5, but they are fine films. My first pick right out of the gate, it might feel cliche, but it's because it's an Oscar winner. It's an acclaimed movie. It started an incredible franchise, and it inspired me to actually, put on sweats and try to run and do something positive physically with my life. Rocky.
Nice.
Rocky was, and it's our first boxing entry into the mix as well. And my friend Jamie also said that that's not a sports movie either.
What are you talking about?
He's not crazy about Rocky. Not that he's not crazy about Rocky, but he's stuck on the whole. The 5 best movies are all baseball movies.
He says, "Why not go Brewster's Millions at this point?" Hey, it's a competition. That's a competition,
right?
But Swarty and I, once again, talking off the air when we talked about the Rocky franchise. You mentioned Rocky 3 being one of your favorite movies.
Rocky 3 could be upcoming in my top 5. Spoiler alert. Thank you, Dino.
Sorry.
But we're still gonna have to figure out how we get there.
I know we're gonna overlap at some point.
But one of the things I think that's interesting about the Rocky series is that Rocky is definitely artistically the one with the most artistic merit. Obviously, yes,
it was the first. It was the first one too.
It was the Academy Award winner, but the most iconic movies from the Rocky series, for the most part, are all from the other movies. Especially, the running up the stairs followed by all the kids. That's Rocky 2. Everything with Mr. T and Apollo Creed and the friendship, that's in Rocky 3. I think the most iconic thing from the original, Yo, Adrian, I did it. That's Rocky 2.
That's Rocky 2.
I think the most iconic thing from the original Rocky is him hitting the meat as training. I think is the most iconic thing from the original Rocky, which I just think is interesting that is the movie that is the most artistically sound and well regarded. But when you look at the history of the franchise, all the most memorable moments seem to come from the other movies.
Beating the meat,
and that might be a nod to pop culture as we know it. Things that stick. You talked about the Karate Kid right out of the gate. So many things that came into the lexicon of pop culture: wax on, wax off, and sweep the knee, and so forth and so on. Certain things that stuck into the movie consciousness. So you may bring up a very good point. All right, let's go with Swarty's number 2.
All right, so we're making the connection from The Karate Kid. The connection to my next sports movie is William Zabka. William Zabka had 3 movies in the mid-'80s where he played the bad guy, the Karate Kid, just one of the guys. Yeah. And the next movie on my list, the greatest movie about diving in the history of cinema, Back to School. It is the greatest diving movie of all time. It is the Citizen Kane of diving movies.
Oh my
the Triple Lindy.
Triple Lindy.
You can't tell me it's not a sports movie because the whole thing from beginning to end is about the diving.
Diving
is the greatest diving film ever.
That's awesome.
The only diving film that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
This is the Scorsese of diving films. It is
Scorsese of diving films.
Yes, so that would be in my top 5. I absolutely the Triple Lindy. Anytime anyone is on a diving board anywhere in the world, somebody mentions the Triple Lindy. It just has to happen.
It has to happen. And one of my favorite Rodney Dangerfield movies of all time.
Amazing.
Which could be a whole podcast on its own.
Ladybug. Isn't that another one? Sports
Ladybug.
Do you know how many times I saw Ladybug because my daughter had a crush on
Jonathan Brandis?
Yeah,
Jonathan oh my God. You know how many times I had to see that movie? In the theaters and once it came out on VHS at the time. Dear Lord. I saw Ladybugs a lot. So, but it's no Back to School.
No, Back to the School is tremendous. It's got you talk to somebody's going to mention something different about that movie. They're going to talk about the Triple Lindy, the Sam Kinison role, which was kind of like his introduction to the world. Yeah. It's just a movie that continually holds up as a very, very funny movie. You've got one of the biggest movie stars in the entire world, Robert Downey Jr. in it.
Oh, my God, I forgot about that.
It's a tremendous film.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to take it back. This has nearly as much artistic merit as Raging Bull. Earlier. I'm talking about it now. I've talked myself into it.
Our buddy Mark Hoyk reminds us that Rodney Dangerfield reciting Dylan Thomas, masterful, in Back to School.
Yes, and he Kurt Vonnegut. He tells Kurt Vonnegut off in the movie as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I knew Swarty would have some obscure deep choices. Hansberry.
That's good.
Movie number 2.
Well, I'll kind of go in that same vein of. So I grew up in. I was born in '84. So growing up in the '90s, there's just a whole string of great sports '90s movies. And these were all loosely on my radar. Mighty Ducks making a comeback on Disney Plus. Rookie of the Year, where the kid he's a kid, he breaks his arm, and then he turns into a Cubs pitcher, and he's like awesome.
Okay.
These are all really dumb, terrible '90s movies, but the one that tops the cake. And I was 9 years old when this movie came out.
Air Bud?
Close. The Sandlot.
Oh,
Sandlot.
Yeah.
The Sandlot. I mean, it just reminds me of my youth, man. You know, all those catchphrases, those kids, all of us, and how they like did it back in the '60s like that. Everybody can relate to it. It just is, one of the best movies of all time. And again, you're not talking about films per se, but a movie that resonates with you because you grew up watching it. It was part of your culture as a kid. So the Sandlot. My fun fact, Swarty, maybe you probably already know this, but the Jet at the end of the movie, the actor that plays the Jet is the Jet's. The younger kid who played him as his older brother in real life.
No kid.
That's okay. Does that even make sense? The older Jet plays is the real life brother of the younger Jet.
I saw Sandlot in the theater. I own Sandlot on DVD. I introduced my daughter to Sandlot 2 summers ago. She liked it. The one thing that always struck me about Sandlot is it's as if they took Stand By Me, the Bad News Bears, and Goonies, and put it in a blender, and out came Sandlot.
It's like you're reading my mind. You're reading my mind. It was like it's derivative of all those 3, and yet it managed to stand out on its own to become the iconic film that so many people love.
With really bad voiceovers.
Yeah, you're right.
I hated the voiceover, especially how many times can you say we were in such a pickle? Do they still use the pickle? Are we in a pickle? I don't understand.
I use it from time to time.
One of the interesting things about Sandlot that I remember is, so this came out, I want to say in 94. So it was at the very height of Dennis Leary's introduction into comedy. And when he did this role, it was a very non-Dennis Leary-like role. You'd expect him to be in something like the movie like The Ref that came out roughly around the same time. Right. And you're just like, wow, he's just acting. You're like, I'm waiting for you to do something, but you're acting and you're pretty good at it.
Excellent choice. Yeah. Sandlot. Whitney, number 2.
Oh, I got to pick one?
Okay, hi, welcome to the podcast.
I'm going to go with Seabiscuit. Come on, guys.
Horse racing movie.
There's no ball in that movie.
This Seabiscuit, man. I mean, it's another kind of the same thread, like the underdog, the little guy that could. I mean, it's a story about redemption and about getting second chances. And I really, this is one of the films that I could sit and watch, and I always tear up in the same parts.
You know
what I mean? Oh yeah, when he's like coming back and he's winning races, and I just love this film. I could watch it all day long, all the time, and that's it. So anybody else want to chime in on Seabiscuit?
Seabiscuit is a great movie, and there's a statement I want to make, but I'm gonna save it when I bring in my next choice of film, because there's something that is tied to certain sports movies that are based on true stories that I find very, very interesting, and it's a credit to the people that make them and act in them. Which brings me to my second choice.
Wait, hold on, I got a question about Seabiscuit, real quick.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, we know it's based on a real life story, but Seabiscuit, 1939. I'm looking at I am DB here.
Was there a film in 1939?
Yeah. Is it? I mean, obviously, it's kind of hard to make a sequel of a movie that's based on a true story.
Yeah.
But is it supposed to be a sequel, or is it its own?
No, this is its own thing. It's a retelling. And actually, when I was looking at clips today, I was watching. There was the match race with Seabiscuit, and it was Man of War's kid. I can't remember the name of the horse that was really famous. And I watched the film version, and then I watched the original version, and it's pretty much the same thing. All the moves, how far back they were, and they really did a really great job with this movie on recreating history, I guess.
I'll say the other thing. My sister used to live down in Lexington, and they've got a bunch of horse farms and horse ranches where retired race horses are treated like fucking kings there, but that some of them they use in films like this. And it was interesting going on the tour because they talked about which one stood in for which horse, because they knew like how they ran was similar, they looked, and yada yada yada. So it's kind of interesting, that culture.
Yeah, it's cool.
Listening to Whitney talk about Seabiscuit, didn't make my top 5, but I could really understand what he was saying, because I feel the exact same way about Hot to Trot. So I'm a little bit, I was getting a little choked up. It didn't quite make my top 5, but I was very, very close.
Okay, and if we're going to talk about horse racing movies, one that came up in our football conversation earlier that did not make my top 5, but reminded me of what a great fucking movie and fun movie, Let It Ride.
Oh, the Richard Dreyfuss movie?
Richard Dreyfuss movie. I'm having a very, very good day. Let It Ride, a horse racing movie. More about gambling than anything else, but still horse racing involved. Thank you, Jamie Sanfilippo, for reminding me of that one. To make my point about what Whitney said about Seabiscuit will bring me to my second choice tonight. For me, Hoosiers.
Mm-hmm.
Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Indiana basketball.
That's in my top 5 as well. But
that's
go
in
ahead.
your top 5. No, I knew we were going to cross over, and this is the point I was going to make about Seabiscuit and Hoosiers and movies that are based on true stories.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal: we know going in
what happened.
We know going in what happens. We know
it's like the Titanic.
We know Seabiscuit's going to win.
Yeah.
We know that they're going to win the game in Hoosiers. We know that Apollo 13 is going to make it. But because the films
Spoilers.
because because the films are so well done and the performances are so good and the writing is so good, we're there. We're there for how they carry us through the film emotionally and intellectually. So I think that's just a credit to the film itself. The fact that you know how it's going to freaking end.
Yeah.
But you still, and you still get caught up. I watch Hoosiers and I watch that, that last basketball game and I still get caught up in it. And I get caught up in the performances prior to all the subplots and the side stories, et cetera, that all kind of funnel into it. But the fact that these based on fact, true story movies manage to still evoke emotion and passion and enjoyment and become something that becomes repeated viewing, despite the fact that going in, it's not a mystery. You know what happens, but the fact that you enjoy the ride that takes you there is a credit to the filmmakers, the director, the screenwriters, and everybody involved in the film. So I think any true sports story that is translated onto film and does that successfully gets a thumbs up.
Yeah, I love that movie so much because it reminds me of a coach I had when I played basketball. His name was Bernie Hudson, and he was basically Coach Dale, ex-military, very hard-nosed. We used to have practices without the ball. Remember that part of the thing? We were going to start practicing with the ball. We would have these things called mental toughness day where we'd have to do line drills and exercises until we puked.
Nice.
He was trying to get rid of people off the team, and he was successful. 2 people quit because of mental toughness day.
Wow.
So, it's I just love all those training scenes, and the basketball scenes are very accurate.
Because like you said, you actually played ball. You could have been.
You could have been something.
I could have been something. You had a story, Greg, about the Hoosier. Hoosier.
So Hoosiers actually is on my list. Swarty, is Hoosiers on your list by chance?
No, it was one of the movies I had that had artistic merit.
All right, well,
artistic
3 for 4. I think this might be the only one.
The artistic merit selection.
Yeah.
Swarty, a whole different list.
And it's my only film on my list as well. But I grew up in Indianapolis, and so growing up, and this was before Peyton Manning, and so it was like Reggie Miller, Bobby Knight, and the movie The Hoosiers Hoosiers. And growing up, we played in some of these gyms. I played CYO basketball in 8th grade, and we would play in some of these same gyms that they filmed this movie in at St. Philip's, where is these old wood gyms with like the big rafters, and all the fans had to stand above and watch.
Call them Cracker Box gyms.
What is it?
Cracker Box gyms.
Cracker Box gyms. And Hinkle Fieldhouse is where Butler plays, and Butler that gym has been around since beginning of time. And the original Hoosiers back in the day won their championship there. But growing up, me and my buddies would go to the high school championships there. Like, so this was this is, I think it's an example of of a movie that I like learned to appreciate from the other way around, because all of this stuff happened to me. Yeah, right. All this stuff I was a part of this culture before I even see the movie, and then I saw the movie. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And so I don't know. I guess it's just kind of this cool way that a film is able to capture this thing and kind of have ownership of this movie and highlight this culture to the rest of the world. And I don't know. I'm kind of
no, I get it.
Blather Sky thing here a bit, but the point is that it really hits home, because it's just like these bunch of white kids from Indiana playing ball. And even my poor dad, who's tried to coach us a couple times in 5th and 6th grade basketball, he would do the same thing. Be like, okay, you have to pass it 5 times before you can shoot it. That kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
And it just was a way of life growing up in Indiana.
Well, that covers it.
There you
Cheers.
go.
Fuck yeah, Hoosiers.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Right.
That got rid of 3 of us. What about you, Dan? What's your next one?
Well, it's not Hoosiers.
No, but I can't wait to hear what it is.
Yeah.
It's, I went from Zabka. William Zabka took me from the Karate Kid to back to school.
Back to school. What's
And you
the
might
connection?
think
What's the
that Rodney
connection?
Dangerfield would take me to Caddyshack, but no.
No.
Burt Young takes me to Rocky 3.
Rocky 3.
okay.
And I spoiled that earlier. Okay.
That's fine. That's
I
fine.
apologize.
Rocky 3 is everything about that movie is great. It shows Rocky, kind of getting soft, and Mr. T is so great in it.
He really
and then the friendship with Apollo Creed, and every time the movie ends when Rocky has to give Apollo the one favor for helping him train, and they're starting to box in private, and the scene ends with them doing this. I just want the movie to continue because I want to be there to see that fight.
The freeze frame at the end, I love it.
Everything about it. Mickey dies.
That's
Mickey
right.
dies.
He dies.
Man.
It's such. I understand that it's a little more formulaic. I understand that it is more, a factory movie. But in Eye of the Tiger, if you have not in your life once put on Eye of the Tiger to get yourself pumped up for something, I don't understand. I don't understand who you are. I love all the Rockies except for Rocky 5. I don't acknowledge its existence. I love all the Rockies. Rocky 1 through 4, Rocky Balboa, Creed, and Creed 2, all just tremendous, tremendous movies. I could have literally just made all of these movies Rocky movies, but I picked one, and the one that I've watched the most and that is probably my favorite, even though I acknowledge it is not necessarily the best, is Rocky 3.
Rocky 3.
That's awesome.
Rocky 3.
I love it.
And looking, remember when you first saw Rocky 3 and then you watch Rocky 3 later, do you chuckle just a tad at how lovingly they embrace each other after Rocky beats him on the beach running in their short shorts and
All oiled up.
all oiled up. Is there?
That was a very important moment, because as they continued to show throughout the montage, Rocky could not beat Apollo and was somewhat dejected. And as he found the Eye of the Tiger, Dino, he won. So it was a moment that I was celebrating with Rocky and Apollo and Carl Weathers. I didn't mention this with Happy Gilmore, but
right.
I'll mention it with this. Carl Weathers played for the Oakland Raiders. So not only one of our finest actors, but one of our finest athletes as well.
Yeah.
All right, question for Swarty. I love this from Hoyt. Hoyt goes so deep as well. Swarty, how do you feel about Stallone's upcoming Rocky IV director's cut where he intends to remove the robot?
Well, the robot has always been a source of controversy among Rocky fans because apparently Rocky and Paulie discovered artificial intelligence at least 36 years before the rest of the world. So it's always been a source of controversy. But at the same time, because Burt Young is what brought us here, and Burt Young has always been a tortured character, the robot's Burt Young's only friend. So it's his only friend. So I'm
that cuts out a lot of Burt Young out of the film.
Essentially, he's just going to be in Russia. That's all he's going to do. He's going to be in Russia. We're going to Russia. That's all he's going to say.
Oh,
Go to some markets.
All right, Rocky 3. I love Rocky 3. I kind of agree with you. I am going to force myself, though, at some point to watch Rocky 5 again. I have to at some point. It's kind of the same feeling. Like it's the same feeling I have right now with Godfather 3, which there's a new Coppola cut with a different beginning and a different ending, and supposedly
Different movie,
a slightly different movie, and Godfather 3. If there was never a Godfather 1 or 2, Godfather 3 would stand out as let's be honest, a pretty damn good movie. But it's compared to Godfather 1 and 2, much like Rocky 5 is compared to Rocky 1 through 4, and I think it sucked. So I'm not putting those two in the same world, but I've always refrained from watching Godfather 3 again because I know it's not as good as Godfather 1 and 2. So I think at some point I gotta try to sit through Rocky 5 again and find something redeeming about it.
I actually saw Rocky 5 opening night in the theater. And Rocky 5 came out the same night as a little movie called Home Alone. Oh. And I remember reading the box office results on the following Monday that Home Alone on that opening weekend had earned slightly more to Rocky 5. And to me, I was like, the world had turned upside down. How could Rocky 5 not be the #1 movie in America? And then it's like one of those movies that as you step back from it, like, I don't know if you've ever had this with the 4th Indiana Jones movie. When I came out of that movie, I was just so excited to spend time with Indiana Jones again. Right. That I came out and I was like, oh, that was great. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah. And then as each, as you get a little more removed from it, you're like, wow, that was just awful.
That was not good. That was
not good.
The alien spaceship flying away at the end didn't turn you away from the film right off the bat? No?
I was just so happy to spend time with Indiana Jones again. I was like, you're back.
Shia LaBeouf.
All right, we go from Swarty back to Hansberry, number 3.
I'm going to knock out my last 4 and 5 because they're very similar. Right. So again, kind of growing up in the 90s.
Wait. I thought we were on. Are we on 4?
Oh well, Hoosiers.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to wrap it up because they're very similar.
That's fair. Go ahead.
So again, growing up in the 90s, I was watching like the Mighty Ducks, like we were joking about, right? So these were the first 2 kind of R-rated movies that I came across that happened to be sports movies that obviously are legendary anyway, but also kind of introduced me to boobs and the F word. Caddyshack and Major League.
Major League came up again in the conversation earlier today too. Once again, my friend Jamie Sanfilippo, who's tuning in tonight and is chiming in aggressively and passionately, he said that was probably one of the best baseball films because up to that point, the Cleveland Indians hadn't won a World Series.
Yeah, it was a fantasy movie.
But in the movies they did, and it was just it represented something positive, fun. Funny as well. I mean, there's a lot of great moments in Major League that make it a fun movie. So that's not a bad choice, Hansberry.
No, and it's like those Leslie Niels, it's not quite absurd humor, but it's almost there. It's fun. It's good. And then of course, Caddyshack.
Swarty, you're shaking your head to Caddyshack.
Well, I'm shaking my head because absolutely.
Yeah, really, right?
Caddyshack is, I don't think you could have this discussion without Caddyshack, which was part of my swerve with going with Burt Young from Back to School. Caddyshack is, Ted Knight is so perfect. How Ted Knight did not win an Academy Award or get nominated for an Academy Award, because anytime anybody does an impression of a snob, they just do Ted Knight.
They do Ted Knight. They do.
That's it. It's such a it's tremendous. Now, Major League is a really good movie as well. Very funny movie. Bob Uecker's finest performance other than Mr. Belvedere. But
I forgot you're a Belvedere fan.
But no,
go back in the archives. Movies. You got to go back in the archives and watch Swarty talk about Mr. Belvedere. He's in there.
But that's another one with
sing the theme song, Dan.
No.
Come on.
Streaks on the China, never met him before. Who cares? And I don't know why I always have to move my mouth like that too when I sing it. I just have. I drop kick your jacket when you came through the door. I don't know why I do that, but I always do. I'm not just doing that for the camera. That's just 4:30 on MeTV.
You're channeling Leon.
But and two, when you talk about those pop culture moments, nobody will ever see a wild pitch ever again at any level of baseball without saying just a bit outside. I mean, it is one of those things that's there forever.
Yeah, it's a classic line.
I love it.
Hansberry, good, admirable choices.
Excellent.
I got no problem with it. Whitney.
0 Academy Awards, but
0 Academy Awards. Whitney.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a film, David Aronofsky, The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just another, kind of down and out character. The characters I love in films, and just a great little story and heartwarming and sad and it's just very small budget too. Aronofsky basically made it almost with his own money, But there's just a great film, and I just love these kind of movies. So it's
so you lean towards more the
underdog.
Not the underdog, but movies that have more artistic merit than and which is fine. I'm not criticizing because I still have a couple on my list that probably fall in that category as well.
Well, I left Pride of the Yankees off, so you know
what? That was a debated one because that is one of those movies that you talked about earlier when you said that if I see it on Turner Classic,
I'll watch it. Yeah,
I'm going to watch it. How do you not watch Pride of the Yankees? I mean, it's just
Gary Cooper is best.
It's great. It's a great movie.
The thing I remember from The Wrestler is that it was also Mickey Rourke's comeback too. So it was kind of this mirrored reality type of a thing too.
Yeah, it was.
That role is so associated with Mickey Rourke. It's kind of interesting that he was not the original choice. Does anyone know the original choice?
No, do not.
Are you saying Hulk Hogan? Are you about to say Hulk Hogan?
No.
I
think he did say that in an interview once. It was Nicolas Cage.
That's
Nicolas Cage was original.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about that movie, I think that the guy in the movie who sold steroids in the movie was arrested in real life for selling steroids.
That's true. Yes, that is true. Yeah.
Yes. The lingo. It's like me as the Uber driver in your guys' next film.
Yeah. But interesting, Mickey Rourke was up for it, but then Aronofsky had a meeting with Rourke, and the rest is history. Done.
Great movie. Great movie. Kind of the fictional account of Jake the Snake Roberts in Beyond the Mat.
Oh,
it's you mentioned Nicolas Cage. It's a shame that the movie he has on video on demand right now just came out. Otherwise, I'm sure it would be in this list. Jiu-Jitsu is on video on demand right now. where he
That's not in your top 5?
No, where he battles. There's an alien. At least that's what I'm gathering from the trailer that I saw. There's an alien that comes down, and the alien is actually hoping that there's somebody that's worthy enough to fight in battle in jiu-jitsu, and it looks awful. but Nicolas Cage, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
And yet I feel that he's going to bounce back and do something once again that's Academy Award worthy before it's all said and done.
Face Off too.
Yeah. I'm going to go with my next choice is one that's debatable because it's a baseball movie, but is it a baseball movie or is it? And I'm sure this one might copy and fall into some other lists as well. Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Oh, Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. You didn't give me that one. I don't have a poster, but yeah, it's great.
I didn't give you Field of Dreams.
No.
Kevin Costner movie, obviously Field of Dreams.
James Earl Jones.
Is it a baseball movie, or is it a father and son movie? Is it a movie about things that you wish you would have done but didn't do? I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
But
Dino, we could have this discussion about almost any sports movie. For example, The Bad News Bears and Breaking Training. Is it a sports movie, or is it Kelly Leak's reunion with his father that baseball brings about?
Yeah.
It's a baseball movie, Dino.
It's a baseball movie. All right, it counts. And I personally, I don't know how many people watching or listening or will eventually listen to this, but having had a dysfunctional relationship with my father, that scene with Costner and his dad at the end, Whitney, you talked earlier about how you tear up every time.
He's watching Seabiscuit.
I don't care how many times I see that particular scene. It gets me. I mean, I love the whole movie on a whole, the whole fantasy aspect of it, the outrageousness of it, how none of that could really be happening, but it is, and how you just buy into it, every step of the way. But that scene with Kevin Costner and his dad just tears me up every time. And
what's the line?
Want to have a catch? Yeah. Have a catch?
Yep.
And they do, and just and we were talking earlier about once again Kevin Costner and how many baseball movies he's done, because I had to leave it off the list, but if I had 6, Bull Durham would be in there.
Oh, that was on there actually.
I think you had him flip flopped.
Did I? Oh, okay, because I put a football movie on my list before it's all said and done. All right, but
we'll sneak in the poster. I took the time to find it. There it is.
Yeah. I don't know if I love Bull Durham because it's a great movie, or because I probably had a secret crush on Susan Sarandon for decades.
She was okay. She was all right.
She's so sexy in that movie.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
So sexy in that movie. So sexy. All right,
Field of Dreams features, I believe, Timothy Busfield's finest performance other than Revenge of the Nerds. Would I be correct in this?
You might be. You just might be. He plays the
He's
dick.
asking us, would I be correct in this? Like we would.
He's a complete dick until don't sell this field.
Great movie.
Don't sell.
Yeah, he was an ass.
Yeah, Field of Dreams.
Well, and another iconic pop culture film. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
there are more pop culture. There's Pepsi commercials about this movie. Like, I think I've seen it maybe once or twice, but I know more about the film from just pop culture references.
That's right. You're from the '60s. Back to the '60s.
Moving on, Swarty. What's your next one? What's your connection?
The connection from Rocky 3 is another great sports movie that was written and directed by somebody who also acted in the movie. Because Rocky 3 was written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. Right. And this film was written, directed, and a role played by Oliver Stone any given Sunday.
Nice. Man, a football movie.
I love this movie. Football is my favorite sport. This is a tremendous movie. The acting is phenomenal. A little thing that you may not know is this book, You're Okay, It's Just a Bruise, that one of the doctors for the Los Angeles Raiders wrote, served as some inspiration for this movie. So I find that fantastic. And is there okay, when you're talking about sports movies for me, Whitney's talking about, and Dino, you've been talking about those touching moments. And I understand. I like those touching moments as well. When Buttermaker tells Lupus, you didn't come into this life to sit on a dugout bench, and he catches the ball, I lose it. Tremendous. Yeah. But what I love maybe more are just the things that just pump me up. You know, Eye of the Tiger, the Inches speech from Any Given Sunday, when Al Pacino is talking to them before the playoff game and he gives the Inches speech. I have watched that alone time and time again. And if I need to get myself pumped up, I watch the scene from Rocky 2 where he runs up the stairs. I watch Lupus catching the ball, and I watch the Inches speech. In Oliver Stone has one of my favorite film techniques that he does in almost every one of his movies, where somebody is talking and then they cut away. He continues to talk, and then they just show like looking away or looking down. So you're seeing them not talking anymore. I don't know what that film technique is called, but Oliver Stone does it a lot, and it's in this movie a lot. And there's so many great old football players in this. Johnny Unitas plays a coach on the other team. Barry Switzer's in it. It's just a tremendous movie.
Cameron Diaz.
I love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see some penis in it too, if you are into that thing.
If that's what you're into.
Well, thank you, Hansberry.
Some locker room scenes in that one.
Lawrence Taylor is in this film. Terrell Owens is it? I mean, just it's kind of cool because they couldn't use the NFL. They couldn't use the National Football League.
I remember that. Didn't they want
a different league? They're playing for the Pantheon Cup. And that kind of like, okay, all right.
Kind of ruins it a little bit.
Yeah, the NFL was not going to sign off on that script. No way.
No. Didn't they want it to be part of the NFL and they just turned it down? Wasn't that part of the story or no?
I'd imagine that would be the case. I think it's the best movie ever made about pro football.
Better than Draft Day. Talking about Kevin Costner.
That's another Cleveland fantasy movie. I mean, it's a Cleveland sports fantasy movie.
This season?
Not this season. No, this season, good for them. They're having a great
year. Hey, there's still plenty of time to see them fuck it up.
Playoff.
I'm not a Browns fan, but I tip my hat if I had one. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Swarty, you're coming up with some really obscure, wonderful choices. Yeah. Hansberry, are you tapped out? Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Caddyshack, Happy Gilmore, Sandlot, Hoosiers, Major League.
I have one actually that's curious. Is The Big Lebowski a sports movie?
Yes.
Bowling movie.
It was discussed. I'm telling you, this conversation I had during the Steelers-Ravens game covered the gamut of what are sports movies, and that one came up. Not only The Big Lebowski, but Kingpin as well.
Yeah.
So yes, bowling is a sport. I don't watch it when it's on, but it counts as a sport. There's
more of a backdrop. There's more of a backdrop in that film.
There's
more of a backdrop.
There's a ball.
That's true.
So there's definitely a ball.
Did anybody see the movie based on the Jesus character? I heard that was a flop.
No, I didn't see it. No.
I heard it was a flop.
I didn't want to have that on my list, although it's one of my favorite comedies. I actually wanted to talk about, and nobody's talked about this yet, and Jamie Sanfilippo, you're going to be happy about this, The Natural.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball.
Amazing film. I applaud it. It was
Barry Levinson was the director.
It's
no locker room scenes in that one.
No locker room scenes.
It's a great movie.
Wilford Brimley. Come on, dude. Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Kim Basinger was in that too, as well, right?
Who?
Yes, Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger was in that movie.
Yeah.
The Natural. Jamie says the best. The Natural.
There is. Oh, go ahead, Whitney.
It's my top film. It's actually my top sports film, no doubt about it. Because it's not. It's kind of a fantasy, but it's
but it's
there's so many strings to it. You know what I mean? The music, the cinematography, the storytelling itself. You know, and it goes along with my thread of comeback and an underdog coming back, and people redemption is actually a huge theme in this film, and it's just one of my favorites. And that end scene where he hits the home run, and it goes into slow motion, and it fades into the radio announcer and all the exploding lights and everything. I mean, come on, it gives me goosebumps every time. Every time.
It's an excellent choice. It's an excellent choice all the way around. It
With
really
the sports writers writing the story and drawing the picture that he's going to be the coach as he's at bat. It's tremendous. And I'll tell you, if you've not seen it, I would highly recommend from It's Gary Shandling's show. Mm-hmm. They did an entire episode that was a parody of The Natural, including lightning hitting the tree. But he didn't carve a bat out of the tree. He carved a ping pong paddle. And it was all a parody of The Natural based on ping pong. It's Gary Shandling's show. I highly recommend it. Very funny.
Do you remember the name of the title of the episode so I can go right to it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I will. I will. I have It's Gary Shandling's show on DVD.
I know you do. I know you do.
Was the paddle Wonder Boy? What was the name of the paddle? Was it etched on the handle?
It was Wonder something. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great stuff.
Jamie says I agree. Jamie says I agree. No other sports movie ends better. Whitney.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Except for maybe Happy Gilmore.
That's true.
don't make me spit up my 100
whiskey that we're not
my 110.2 proof whiskey.
Just real quick while you're drinking that, I wanted to just throw out some peripheral movies. I've got two categories: dumb movies and films. The dumb movies are Varsity Blues and Goon. Terrible movies that are fun to watch. Also then films, $1 Million Baby, Chariots of Fire, and Enter the Dragon.
See,
what was the last one?
Enter the
Dragon. I had probably seen Enter the Dragon more than any other film I've ever watched, only because at the time it came out, I actually worked at a movie theater when it was playing. And that's probably why I've seen it more than anything. But it is one of those movies that I have seen repeatedly and still love. Chuck Little. I actually met Chuck Norris before, and it was right during or before. No, it was right after Enter the Dragon. I took a karate class in high school, and our teacher, our sensei, was friends with Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris came to our class.
Wow.
Yeah, and I met Chuck Norris, and I was actually put on the ground by Chuck Norris.
Yo, you kicked your ass.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to pass your class? What was your did you have to cut a board, a 2x4 in half or anything?
No.
I like your fighting moves, Hansberry.
Yeah.
Again, Hoosier right here.
I'll show you. Yeah.
That's right.
And some Queensberry rules.
The Hustler.
Oh, yeah.
The Hustler?
Hey, Jamie Sanfilippo, fuck off. He's calling me a name dropper.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned Chuck Norris.
No, the Hustler, we haven't talked about.
That's a big comment.
Hoyk, I want to put God bless you, Mark Edward Hoyk. I want to put in for Stick It because it's not just a solid comedy and critique of how tough gymnastics is and how it's judged by people who can't do the tricks. It's also a meta critique about how creators are made to fight each other in show business. Wow. Okay. That's going to keep me up tonight, Hoyk.
I actually agree with. I like Stick It too. It's one of my films that I kind of like.
Kind of like Stick It.
Kind of like it
with Jeff Bridges.
No, Jeff Bridges. Yes, I think he was the coach, wasn't he?
Well, let's do another. We could do Christmas movies and have Hoyk back on.
That's right.
I don't know if Hoyk believes in Christmas.
We tried to get him on. We tried to get Hoyk back on, and he couldn't figure out how to do the video stream. Right?
No. Yeah. Mark
I-
Edward Hoyk, you got to figure out the whole video stream.
I think he
Come on,
has figured it
Hoyk.
out. I saw him on a video podcast a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
You can figure it out for that podcast.
Yo, you
Come
Hoyk,
on,
you bastard, you.
That's
just
true.
because we're not Comedy Central here.
So we got more movies, right?
Yeah,
What
we got a couple more.
Keep
We got a
going.
couple more. We're back to Swarty. I think we're in your fifth movie, Swarty.
Yeah, and if anyone has seen me look down today, it's not because I'm not paying attention. I continue to fact check everything I say. So that if anything I say is inaccurate, I want to correct myself before the podcast ends. And so far, I think I'm batting pretty well. So, the final thread. An inspirational coach, Al Pacino,
Right.
the Inches speech,
Right.
inspiring his players to achieve all that they can achieve. And so we're going from one inspirational
I was trying to figure this out.
inspirational coach to another, Coach Bobby Finstock.
No.
Yes, Teen Wolf is a
No.
basketball movie. It is a
What?
basketball
That's
movie.
Hoosiers meets Back to the Future.
And here is the words of wisdom from Coach Bobby Finstock. There are 3 rules that I live by. Never get less than 12 hours sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as a city. And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body. Now you stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese. Perhaps the most inspirational coach in all of 80s films. I apologize, Hoosiers. It is Coach Bobby Finstock in Teen Wolf, which to me is I love this movie. I've seen it. I can't tell you how many times. But the thing about this movie,
more than Karate Kid.
It's pretty close.
Really? Wow.
It's pretty close. The thing I will say about Teen Wolf that gets me every time is, all right, so they're in small town America, and there just happens to be a basketball player on the team who's a werewolf. And yet there is no media coverage from anywhere.
Right.
I mean, there's not even the local outlets are there.
He's not on ESPN.
There's no story.
Top number 1.
You'd think somebody would cover this. Hey, what do we got on the sports beat today? Oh, I don't know. The werewolf in the championship game.
That's right.
Maybe this somehow gets into the coverage. It's a very good movie. And you want to talk?
Did you watch the MTV
I have
series?
I watched
the drama that was Teen Wolf.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is that Teen Wolf is for a movie, is a movie that's had such a long legacy in popular culture, from Teen Wolf 2 with Jason Bateman to the cartoon series that I watched as a kid, to the MTV series. It's still something that is being felt by people today.
And felt or has found some sort of merit to recycle.
Yeah.
Well, if you're recycling something, you could do a heck of a lot worse than Teen Wolf.
Right. You should even look at the Twilight movies, teen vampires, teen werewolves. Like it's that common thread, man.
Yeah, they couldn't dunk. I don't think those guys could dunk.
Also, car surfing is a sport in that movie, Dan. Car surfing.
True.
I would not recommend that anyone car surf. Please do not car surf. And wasn't it in Varsity Blues, or it was Blue Chips, where they laid down in the middle of the street? Don't do that either. Don't do those things.
That was an honorable mention. Blue Chips is an honorable mention for me, actually.
The program and Blue Chips.
The program, that's right. The program.
So many movies. So many movies.
Teen Wolf would be in my top 5 because it's definitely a basketball movie. Because at the end, too, you learn a lesson from basketball, because Michael J. Fox wins the championship without being the wolf.
That's right. Steroids.
He even gets Chubbs involved. He gets Chubbs involved in the offense.
You can win without steroids.
Chubbs
or being a werewolf.
That guy in Pee Wee Herman. Isn't Chubbs the bad guy in Pee Wee Herman?
He is, and he's also hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. He's that guy as well from Naked Gun.
Oh
Yeah, he is.
Mark Holton, I believe, is his name.
Oh my God! I'm gonna have a lot of editing.
No. Whitney, did you have anything? Did you have 5? Did we get to all 5 of yours, Whitney?
I did, but I picked some of them based on some of our overlap as well. So you have one more.
I do have. There's 2 that I didn't get to for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
But my favorite football movie was The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds.
Right.
I love that movie. That's one of those that if I come across it, I'll start watching it from start to finish.
Great Adam Sandler movie.
I know, no, Hansberry.
What?
Get over your Sandler.
No,
your Sandler love lust. That was a horrible remake. It should have never happened.
Come on.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad remake.
How about Eddie Albert playing against type? Eddie Albert totally playing against type.
Oh, that's right. The prison warden. Yeah.
Right. Just
shoot that son of a bitch.
I love that movie.
Longest Yard, and then my artistic merit film because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The dad from Teen Wolf was in Longest Yard. I almost made that connection.
Almost.
What does he do in Longest Yard?
My artistic merit film was, and I have seen it more times than you, Dan Swartwout, is Raging Bull, and this is one that Jamie Sanfilippo and I disagreed about. He said it's just about a drunk guy who could box. But Raging Bull, this is one of those movies again, and I'm a big fan of Scorsese films, but this one has got a lot of elements for me. It's got boxing, which I love. I love the sweet science of boxing. I love the story of Jake LaMotta. I love the performances in this film. I love some of the iconic lines in this film. That still stick with me, and just the whole thing. I love it. It's almost operatic in a sense.
Almost. Those fight sequences are just like
they are. They are. Not almost. They are operatic in a sense. So that's my artistic merit film, aside from Rocky, which won the Academy Award, because Raging Bull was nominated but did not win.
Ordinary People
win the award that year.
Yeah.
So I don't want to discredit Raging Bull because it's as the kids say, that film fucks. That's a new term, I guess the kids are saying.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, the scene, he wants to do the gal and he pours the ice down his stuff. I wanted, when we interviewed Buster Douglas, I wanted to ask him if that was true. Is that a thing? Do boxers try to, make sure that they, prohibit themselves so that they can perform better?
Well, Rocky wouldn't. Rocky wasn't supposed to, have sex with Adrian.
Yeah.
So it's a thing.
I think Tyson.
We should have asked Buster. We should ask Buster Douglas. Tyson also smoked weed before his.
He didn't follow that rule at all. Yeah.
Jamie's correcting me. I didn't say that. I said it was the struggle of an over-the-hill boxer dealing with life, but it's not about boxing.
Well, no.
Well, it is still about boxing in a sense. That the man's fucking career.
Dodgeball isn't about dodgeball.
And then we got into the conversation. Let's
talk about dodgeball.
let's wrap it up here in the next 5 minutes.
All right.
About sports that or sports movies about sports that aren't considered sports. We had a conversation earlier tonight. Is chess a sport?
Yeah.
Searching for Bobby Fischer. Great movie. Is poker a sport?
Yeah, let's count
It's
them
on
all.
ESPN.
Rounders is a great movie.
The Gambler.
The Gambler, or the Cincinnati Kid, or
There's a bunch of gambling movies.
Yeah.
What's the one with Matthew Damon?
The Rounders.
Oh yes, thank you. The one we just mentioned.
The one that we just mentioned. It's not a movie; it's a series. But Whitney pushed me to the Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
What do you guys think
about chess? Tremendous,
It's cool.
Great show.
Tremendous series. Whether the Jamie Sanfilippo, the Hustler, billiards.
That's what I was trying to think of.
So what about
Color of Money?
The Color of Money,
Mm-hmm.
which Paul Newman won an Academy Award for. That was his gimme. But what about those? What about those?
The Hunt.
Those
The game
movies,
of human
those
hunting.
movies that are those sports which aren't always recognized as the immediate sports we think of. We think of basketball, we think of football, we think of baseball. But then there's billiards,
Dancing, singing,
there's so much,
spelling bee.
so much. We covered a lot of bases tonight, Swarty.
Yacht racing with Summer Rental and One Crazy Summer. I mean, yacht racing is
Overboard.
Overboard.
Overboard? No.
At the end, no.
We didn't cover rock climbing or mountaineering. Nothing.
Well, what about that documentary they just had? That was an Oscar award-winning film where the guy.
Free Solo.
That's a great film.
Oh my God, that is an intense film. Yeah, so that's a sport, and it's probably one of the best documentaries about sports that I've seen in a long, long time. So,
Gaming.
Golf never came up.
Well, oh my God, Happy Gilmore, you jackass! Come on.
Okay, you're
Jack.
right.
I don't even play golf, but half of my films were golf movies.
I was just thinking about there's a couple of documentaries about Tiger Woods.
But like Tim Cup, and you're right. Once you enter the documentary, then you're
it's all over the place.
Yeah, Hoop Dreams was mentioned earlier in the thread, and also Basketball Diaries, a great movie. But is that about basketball or is that about drug addiction? Yeah,
one and the same.
Well, drug addiction is a sport, isn't it? I think so, right?
Apparently, based on this podcast tonight, I would think so.
Life on a Wire.
Yeah, I would think so.
The Life on the Wire, the guy that did the tightrope walking.
Yep.
Tin Cup.
Hoyk says ice castles.
We forgot about the flowers.
Kevin James has some fun sports movies.
His wrestling movie, his wrestling movie, or was it a wrestling or was a no? It was MMA fighing movie. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And there's also a good I'm gonna just stop talking because I can't remember what it is, but there's a good movie out on Amazon Plus about a girl and her brother sister team who go out to try to find to enter the wrestling thing, and it's based on a true story. Vince Vaughn is in it.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
I don't know.
First of all, what is Amazon Plus?
I don't know what the fuck.
I think it's Amazon Prime, isn't it?
It's Amazon Prime.
Disney Prime. Is Quibi still a thing?
What is Amazon Plus? Is that I'm not streaming that right now.
Must not be a Prime elite member.
Oh my God! All right, so I'm going to go back through the thread. I didn't get to comment. Obviously, we couldn't comment on everybody who was commenting, but we thank you for joining us on Facebook Live and offering your comments. We'll go through them and try to comment a little bit later. We try to get to as many as we could. Swarty, God love you. Thank you, man. You never ever disappoint, and I can't. I'm so looking forward to COVID being over because I know you got that beautiful big screen TV and I'm still debating what I want to watch with you in your basement down there.
Well,
Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
I have it off to the side right now on mute. And right now it's just running the 24-hour Love Boat channel on Pluto TV. So that's what's going on my television right now.
They have a 24-hour Love Boat channel?
They do indeed. And yesterday I saw an episode of the Love Boat with Kathy Bates years and years before she was an Academy Award-winning actress.
Wow.
I also saw one with there was a bunch of Brady Bunch people in the Love Boat yesterday. It might have been a theme, or it just might have been they always put Brady Bunch people on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
You know what my go-to before I go to I'm up late every night.
Work.
I'm up late every night. My bedtime hour of vintage TV is on I think it's called FETV, Family Entertainment Television. It's an hour of Barney Miller every night.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
No, it's amazing how that show still holds up. I mean,
Tremendous.
But that's another conversation.
Sorry, I'll edit this out of the podcast.
Don't edit anything out of this podcast.
This
There's
is extra
nothing
content
to edit out of this podcast.
for the live
There's
viewers.
nothing to edit out of this podcast.
The Saved by the Bell remake, Swarty. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
What? Come on.
Which they're saying is one of the best reboots ever.
Come on,
I've heard it's
Swarty.
good.
The critics
I have
are
not-
the critics are applauding Saved by the Bell reboot.
Huh.
I right now, most of my television watching right now, unless it's kind of in the background while I'm doing other things, most of it's sports right now. So, I'm generally watching football or soccer or starting basketball or golf so I haven't had the chance to watch a whole lot of anything lately except sports.
Okay.
And the Whiskey Business Live podcasts.
As you get ready for your podcast, which will come full circle, and mention the fact that
back on and do sports
that Swarty's going to get back into the podcast world.
There you
Exciting.
Yep.
The butt fumble.
What?
We're gonna have him back on and talk about the butt fumble.
The butt fumble. The butt fumble. All right. So we should probably wrap it up. Hansberry, do some business before we wrap up.
Whiskeybusinesspod.com is our website. You can find everything there. Archived episodes, links to our social media, our YouTube channel, and episodes, the current episodes. But we're also on Facebook. If you're watching this on Facebook right now, you know that we're on Facebook. Go ahead and subscribe and click and link, comment. And like us and share this episode, because this live episode that you're watching now is going to be on the internet forever. So just go ahead and share it with your friends if you think they will get a kick out of watching this. YouTube, Whiskey Business Podcast with Dino Tripodis. Same thing. If you're watching us live, thank you very much. Click right here. There's a little bell icon that will let us, if you click that, you'll get notifications every time that we put a new podcast out. So do that. We already said Facebook, Instagram. We're on Instagram. Like us there. Twitter, we're there. Dino does a bunch of fun updates. Subscribe on your favorite podcast. If you're just a dude who likes to listen to podcasts, we're on, or do that. All your favorite podcast apps. And the best way to help us out would be to rate and review us on your favorite podcasting app, and then to share the hell out of it.
Nicely done, Greg. I want to thank our guest, Dan Swartwout, once again for being with us.
Yes, it's been so much fun. I've had a great time.
When it comes to television, and I know I think there's still a segment of television that we said we were going to bring you back for that we haven't covered yet. I can't remember what that was. It'll come to me. But you'll be back. I love you, dude. I mean,
looking forward to it. This has been
you're one of my favorite people in the world, and the perfect guest for tonight, because I know you would go deep and obscure and yet informative at the same time. At the same time, I want to address one question. Jamie Sanfilippo earlier this evening. Dino, are you drunk? And then my good friend that I went to high school with, Kevin Barnes, who responded, Dino, drunk? Nah.
He's just been watching the Steelers.
No.
3 o'clock on a Wednesday.
No, I'm not. But with a 110.2 proof guest bottle from Watershed Distillery, the Watershed Bourbon in the Chino barrels, I'm surprised that I'm not. This, by the way, has been delicious. So anybody that won the lottery on this bottle, you're not going to be disappointed for the $79.99 that you pay to get it.
Nice. There it is.
Delicious. Wonderful. I want to thank, of course, the audio greatness of Greg Hansberry, who will put it all together. Even though you guys watch us on Facebook Live, we'll be releasing this on Monday. And, of course,
tonight was Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack.
Oh, nice. Has nothing to do with sports whatsoever.
No, just good 80s.
No. And of course, the video greatness of John Whitney, time and time again. So, hey guys, it's nice to be back. After we get off of Facebook Live, Hansberry and Whitney and I will be talking about what we're going to do for our Christmas episode upcoming here in December. Obviously, it's going to be like this because things are a little crazy.
But with Christmas hats.
Yeah.
It'll be like this, but with hats.
But something. Swarty, you might be called upon again for our Christmas episode. So,
Home Alone.
Hang tight.
Well, Rocky IV takes place on Christmas, so I'm right there.
Oh my God. Also, I was going to say that, like, retrospectively, don't you think Home Alone is probably one of your more favorite movies than Rocky V?
Oh yeah, Home Alone's a much better movie than Rocky V. But you couldn't tell me that in 1990.
No. Same thing. I saw the day Forrest Gump came out. I saw The Shadow.
With Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, I chose to see The Shadow instead of Forrest Gump.
I'm sorry.
That's the first and only time anyone has ever seen that movie. So
yeah.
That was based on the old radio series, right?
The Shadow Knows.
Yeah, which is actually really good. If you ever get the chance, you want to just listen to some of those.
Who knows what? Yeah.
Evil lurks
in the hearts of men.
In the heart of yes.
All right. Well, before we go down more rabbit holes,
yes, we must leave.
We must leave. Swarty, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I've had a great time. I just love it. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see you again in person. I really look forward to it. Hansberry, Whitney, hang out for a second. We'll talk afterwards.
All right.
And everybody on Facebook Live and YouTube, thank you for joining us tonight and offering up your comments. If we didn't get to all of yours, I apologize, but thank you for participating and sharing. We'll look at all of them before it's all said and done. And thanks to Watershed Distillery once again for this great bottle. And until the next that way. Okay. I'm slightly dyslexic even on camera. Until the next bottle. See ya.